I decided to bundle this as a Mugen Sophistication because, well, it's kind of a neat thing to, to think about and consider to do when coding. And I want to get a discussion going about it, as well as, just to update Black. The idea behind this method is to streamline key blasts. So as you can see, there's like 9 states for key blasts, and I don't like that at all. The reason that this is not only is there a command to go into the light version, medium, and heavy, but there also has to be a version where, it accounts for the light and strong variation. So like if I'm in the first one, and then I press heavy, it needs to go to like the corresponding state, and that has to happen for everyone. But for Black, I streamlined it down so it's just free. And stuff like, the velocity and all that could just be handled in a variable. So first up, go to the command. There's all of this. Goku Black uses EXPLOD Buffering, and what that basically means is instead of using Mugen's default command parsing, it uses a custom method. It was originally made by a dude called Just No Point. He's really cool dude. And the method is really useful, and like if you don't use it, then you really should, because it basically fixes a good chunk of like command issues that people have. Like for instance, if you were to jump over the opponent and input a forward dash, Mugen wouldn't have the commands flip, so you would dash towards them instead, because it's weird. It doesn't flip until you're actually like over the opponent. It still considers it. That's weird. Anyway, basically that fixes that. It allows you to control basically everything, how moves are buffered, and how they work and all that. If you haven't seen it, I'll put a link in the description. I really suggest you check it out if you're serious about doing Mugen stuff. So, there you go. Anyway, that's not the point. The point is, as you can see, in this one state, this first trigger all of this here, this is detecting the quarter circle. So, it says all the facing and all that, and changes the EXPLOD corresponding to if you're facing them left or right. And the second one is the EXPLODs for all of the punches. So 200 is light punch, 210 is medium, and 220 is heavy. And the 05s are the negative edged versions, which means when you let go of the button. And it all goes to the state 1000. And in the state, a couple of things happen. One, it defines the animation as 1000 and all that. So this is fine. But the important thing is here, the fireball velocity. I set it to floating variable 5, and the reason for that is I have a lot more control over how fast or slow I want the projectiles to be. And plus I just need to edit this one thing and put it into the other 2 states and we're fine. So basically here, it defines what the variable is depending on which EXPLOD you used. So if I used the medium version, it's 3.1. If I used the heavy version, it's 3.8. And if it's a light version, it's 2.4. Then it spawns a helper, quarter circle fireball, ID equals 1010, state number is 1010, that's how helpers work, flash effects, and the change state. The change state basically asks for the input for quarter circle forward again. So if you do it again whilst in the state, you'll go to 1001. The reason that I did that instead of doing this is because of this. I want my canceling to ignore hit pause because it overall just makes it more comfortable to play with, and like less awkward feeling. And it lets you cancel earlier and more like reliably and comfortably, or at least in my experience. So doing this and having it ignore hit pause, that basically guarantees that like nothing will be funky. Because how I did it before was I would have it ignore hit pause like regular HDBZ characters, but I have all of these ignore hit pause so you can cancel from them while in hit pause. But that's a problem, because if I set this to ignore hit pause 1 and have it like act as my Tatsu does, it would just skip over the other 2 states and just go to 1002. Because you'd still be in hit pause, and it'd ignore hit pause and just fucking put you in there. Anyway. Another helper. So it does a couple of things. This This basically adds to scaling, so that's not very important. It's the same as regular Gokus, but whatever. But here's the interesting thing. Vel set equals root floating variable 5. So what's happening is when the fireball is created, it's checking the value of this. And in every single state, we set it, so depending on which button you press, it changes like the value of floating variable 5. But since it's only in the state depth, it's only called the once as the fireball is created. So once the fireball is created, that is its velocity. It doesn't change. So you can do whatever the fuck you want with that. All of this is just to check in the fireball whether or not to, like, you know, do hit depth 1 or 2. And the only thing for that is that one of them, you know, makes it look like you're being hit in the gut. That's very visual. And then there's all of this basic stuff for you know, fireballs. So hit by, you can't grab it, you can't attack it, and all that. But you can hit it with projectiles and all that. Hit override, if anything hits it, go to state number 1013. And state number 1013 is when the fireball actually collides with something. When you are hit. When you hit something, or if something hits it. Right? And I think I might have fucked up there. Yeah. Here we go. Okay. This makes it so the fireball dissipates after a certain amount of time, and this makes it so if the fireball's off screen, it goes away. So that's very simple. And if I boot up black, the light version, the medium version, heavy. And there you go. That's how you make Hyper Dragon Ball Z Ki Blasts. Have a good day.